How's it going, everyone? And welcome back to the channel. This video will mark the start of an anti-airing series where the goal is to answer two fundamental questions about anti-airing. How can we anti-air, and how do we do it well? Basically, how do you get the most bang for your buck when punishing an aerial approach? With Smash being a largely aerial game, anti-airing can be an important component of conditioning and also conversion, i.e. converting neutral into advantage. This series will focus on the conversion aspect, how to maximize your advantage once you land an anti-air. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
You'll get burned.
This first part in the series will go over the drag down aerial, which, while character specific, is still a fairly pervasive tool among the cast. For the purposes of anti-airing, we can define drag down aerials in the following way. First, they are falling air-to-air moves that are typically multi-hit. The multi-hit hitboxes have low knockback and tend to try to keep the opponent within the attack. And usually the last hit of the move will send the opponent away. Some may also have a landing hitbox when the attacker contacts the ground. In total, this means that to get the proper drag down effect, you need to connect the attack while not connecting the last hit. And in some cases, you need enough runway between you, the opponent, and the ground to make sure you don't connect the landing hit and accidentally send the opponent away. Next, we can go over the pros and cons of drag downs, and there are a decent number of pros. The first, of course, is that drag downs are multi-hit and lingering, meaning that they can be very generous and forgiving when you're trying to connect the move and hit your opponent. Secondly, some of them can put the opponent into a tumble, potentially leading into a mistech and a jab lock. And lastly, these can lead to earlier stocks and confirms by tacking on extra damage before you land the move you really want. Now, drag downs also come with several cons. The first and foremost being that they can be telegraphed and reactable. If the opponent reacts and avoids the move, these moves linger and have a decent amount of landing lag, making them very punishable. So it might not be best to just throw these out, instead using them as a hard callout. The second is that some drag downs are inconsistent, with some hitboxes setting the opponent either in front of you or behind you, depending on which one you hit. Therefore, you need to be aware of your character's specific quirks, spacing, and timing to get the appropriate follow-up. Several drag downs, however, are extremely straightforward and behave the same, regardless of which hits you land. And Pikachu Nair Loops are just amazing. I'll leave a link in the description below. But for now, let's take a deep dive into some examples. For a quintessential example encompassing most of the pros and cons, we can look to Fox McCloud and his forward air. Each hit except for the last can drag the opponent down, leading into a jab lock and an up smash, which is by far his most critical kill tool. On Wolf, a raw up smash will kill at around 100%, fresh and without DI. But if you connect the first 4 hits of the short hop fair and get the jab lock, this threshold becomes about 85%, due to the additional damage from the forward air and the jab lock. Additionally, this can be used at much higher percents when other setups into up smash are less viable. The trade-off comes with reactability. In this example, Fox short hops for 6 frames and connects with the first 4 hits, making the startup of the sequence 13 frames. While for full hops, the startup can become about 15 frames. Both of these are purely unreactable. However, if you're the least bit predictable in your approach, the opponent may react to your startup instead, such as you running forward. For this forward air, if you're too late with the fast fall, the 5th hit will land. If you fast fall but you and the opponent are too close to the ground, you'll hit the landing hitbox. Either way, you'll send the opponent away, preventing the better follow-up. As a side note, characters within a similar archetype include Greninja and Meta Knight. For a few more notes, we can take a quick look at Mewtwo and his neutral air, which has 4 hitboxes on the hands and feet. If the last hitbox you connect is the backhand, the opponent will land in front of you. But if it's the front hand, the opponent will be popped behind. And the foot hitbox, if it's the last hitbox, sends grounded opponents into tumble. His neutral air drag down can lead into true follow-ups and kill confirms. But with him and similar characters, my recommendation would be to look up the character's frame data, experiment, and find out how to work with their drag downs to achieve the desired effect. And that concludes the first video of this anti-air series. In summary, if you have an aggressively jumpy opponent, you can potentially use these to call them out. This can help you bring the opponent to a grounded situation for high damage, in some cases a tech chase scenario, or maybe even a stock. But despite the rewards, they are potentially reactable and punishable on whiff, so exercise caution. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be working on part 2 of this series. In the meantime, you're welcome to provide feedback in the comments below, as well as suggestions for future videos. As usual, like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz, and I'll catch you later.